I want to share something that came through in both my meditation this morning and when I was trying to fall asleep last night and wasn't able to. It's always when the most profound thoughts seem to come in. And I was thinking about how I was actually just speaking to a newfound friend, let's call it, about the inversion and the distortion of the world, the society that we live in, even how words are twisted, how things are defined. And one of the things that was coming up for me that came up so kind of acutely was I want a man that I can depend on. Because I think one of my themes that I've noticed is that men can be disappointing, or I can feel disappointed in men. And I'm looking at that, I have looked at that as a belief system. But it was very interesting that the word depend, that I can depend on this person, right? And I think it's in general. It's not, I'm using the example of a man in my life, but it could be anyone. You know, my friends, my true friends that are dear and close to my heart are women that I can depend on, men and women that I can depend on. And so isn't it interesting, this whole term around codependency, and there's independence, there's interdependence, there's all this thing, but it's like often in our society, the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater. And it's so important to still hold onto the places of truth, that if we lose those bits of truth, we lose, it's like the bottom falls beneath us, the ground falls beneath us, and we're just going to be free falling, desperately wanting to cling on to something that has some kind of truth or meaning that can give us that sense of like that divine I am, right? And what I mean by that is when everything gets so stripped back, then it becomes so abstract that it loses meaning and it loses soul. And then that's where you can inject all sorts of madness and fallacies and lies, because it's like it's like the tree branch, the false branch to hold on to, but you're still hanging over a cliff being like, shit, there's no ground beneath my feet, right? So to depend on someone is actually a beautiful thing. But we've got so caught up in relationship around codependency, right? And codependency really comes from a place of, I do not know how to not just give myself what I need, but ask for what I need. It's okay to need someone. A child needs their parent. This whole idea of throwing a child into a crib and letting them cry because they need to learn how to self-regulate. No, I could say something much more crass in that moment, but it's like, it's a bit like fuck off, because no, that's not what a child needs. A baby doesn't know how to self-regulate, right? What they need is skin to skin, heart to heart. We regulate their heartbeat, right? So we've taken codependency, a healthy codependency, which is we need one another. I mean, look at our world right now. We're so pulled apart and put into nuclear pods and fragmented and compartmentalized. Look at the effect that that has on us. People are more lonely than ever because we need one another. We need to be depending. We depend on one another. We're not, the lone wolf that can be on its own island. We would die. You know what people die of a lot is loneliness, right? So this whole idea that we don't need one another is such a fallacy. And again, it's like you strip yourself away from the truth. You strip away from what is human. You get stripped away from what is divine, and they can put in all sorts of fallacy and control and manipulation because you have been pulled so far away from home, you don't know which direction to go in anymore. You've lost your inner compass, right? So I love how this word came in of, I want to depend. I want to be able to depend on a man, right? That doesn't make me codependent and needy, and I need you to validate me, and I need you to make me feel worthy and whole and happy and all that stuff. But no, I do want to, I want people in my life that I want to need them. I want to depend on them, because that's connection, where you're there for them and they're there for you, and you're in teamship, right? You're in a union together, whether that's between two people, also within yourself, within your community, within your family. We need to fucking need each other again. Not needy. Needy is different. Needy comes from that lack of wholeness because you've been ripped away from your inner home and from your divinity and from your source. Source to earth, connection to earth, and source to the divine. So I've spoken about this and I've written about this for years now, that we need to redefine a lot of words, a lot of our terminology. These definitions have been skewed and inverted for a reason, because it's a way to trick us into leaving our own home and leaving our own tribe and leaving source, God, creator, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it. And these times are a homecoming. So it means we return back to our heart. We return back to one another as not just a human collective, but a collective of spirit and soul and divinity and light and love. So just wanted to share that. Take it or leave it as feels right for you. Loving you from afar. Bye.